How's it going, everyone? My name is Protagonist Chris. I wanted to showcase a build that I've been working on, having a lot of fun with. It's getting pretty effective at this point. Um, Sort of a tri-herald elemental autobomber. I don't really know what to call it. It uses a lot of uniques. I'll just show you a map real quick. It's just going to be a. Should go on D&D, and no, I don't. um, I'll do a magic burial chambers just to show you the mechanism here. It's the same thing you've seen with every other auto bomber. This one has a lot of proliferation, a lot of damage. I'm using rippling thoughts too, which is a cool little add. My attack speed's not where I'd like it to be right now, but I'll remedy that probably when I reduce some jewels. Ooh. But it plays kind of like every other auto bomber. Um, I started the league with an assassin Elementalist Scion Autobomber. So it was crit based, cost breeze, common calamity. It was going pretty well, but I got up to about T10, T11, T12 with some rolls. Could be handled pretty consistently with that character, but I couldn't do bosses. Yellow Beasts would often kill me too. It was just really squishy. Didn't have a lot of scalable damage without Esh's Mirror carrying me really hard. And this build uses Esh's Mirror too, but just has a better single target and can clear at a comparable rate as the Assassin Elementalist Scion. But long story short, this is kind of a expensive build. It doesn't have to be, but it definitely scales much better with the fancy shit. It uses kind of the flavor of the week right now, which is Elementalist, literally any skill paired with Impulses. It's pretty unique dependent, but it's actually not that difficult to get resistance capped because four of the required uniques actually have quite a bit of resists. I ended up taking a Lyra on this character too, which I probably am gonna regret and go back and do points instead, just because I'm kind of starved at this point for life, and I'd like a lot more life. Currently, my defensive strategy is kill everything before it kills me. Seems to be pretty effective at this stage. But I do definitely anticipate getting some more life, since most of the uniques don't have any life on them. So let's see if the boss kills me. There's a good chance that the boss kills me. So let's see. Oh. Bossing right now is kind of a clusterfuck. I do have a Poet's Pen offhand. I don't know if it's better than Rippling Thoughts, Storm Cascade. Hey, I did it. Alright, let's get out of here and talk about the build. So, the basic gist of this, I wanted to use the MTX for the Heralds, because I got them in sandboxes. So, even though I was frustrated with not being able to boss, I was like, I'm going to make it work. The core of it is really impulses, right? We get that, shocked enemies explode. That helps with clear. Everyone is doing this right now. Matho made a video last week, right before I decided to make this build, which sucked because the price went up about 15-20%. A 5-link works just fine. Right now I'm running like Immolate. On Herald of Thunder, because it was before I equipped my Stormfire. But Immolate, I'm probably going to change that. But largely, you're running with Impulses. The build enabling amulet is the Yoke of Suffering. And that's enemies take 5% increased damage for each type of ailment you inflict upon them, and your elemental damage can shock. So all of the elemental damage you do can trigger Shock, which will trigger Herald of Thunder, which does cold damage and burning damage, thanks to the ring I'll get to. So this is a really, really useful amulet. You also get some resists and all attributes, which is pretty nice. Oh, and plus the enemies take 5% increased damage is super dope. Esh's Mirror, I don't need to explain this one. It carries super hard. It's very, very OP. Everyone knows that. The Rippling Thoughts. This isn't necessary for the build, but it definitely adds a quality of life. And I'll talk about this in a second, but without this, you have to self-cast something to trigger all of your heralds, your shocks, your ailments. And originally I was just self-casting Glacial Cascade, but as it turns out, with a 6th link on one of your heralds, a 4 link on another, and no links on a third, you're using like 99.8% of your mana. And I'm an idiot, my stupid lizard brain doesn't understand percentages, so I tried getting a bunch of jewels with mana on them to just increase my unreserved flat mana, and it would adding like 200 mana only made it go up 2. So that's not really going to help. You could probably drop, the 6th link if that was causing you too much headache with self-casting or anything like that. Or you could just buy a Rippling Thoughts, which will auto-cast level 20 Storm Cascade when you attack. And that's basically just a lightning version of Glacial Cascade. Looks like this. It only has a 1 second cooldown, so you can't spam it. Like, it comes out. It's not super great for DPS, but it's good for triggering all of the ailments and all of the heralds. So then we have the Taming. This is an insanely OP ring. It's also worth, I bought this for 2x, so it's not cheap. It's the second most expensive part of the build, really. Oh, and people saying that this is, at least in Bestiary League, how rare this is. I saw one up for like 400 chaos. Don't pay 400 chaos for this. Go buy the first piece of the Arcane Legion sword, the second and the third. It cost me like 45 chaos. And you arrange it in your inventory and you get a free sword. It's awesome. Maybe I could make 1 billion chaos trying to flip all of those pieces from pieces to swords, but I doubt the demand's there. Anyway, the Taming. You get the increased damage with hits and ailments per freeze, shock, ignite on an enemy, which stacks, which is awesome because we do all 3. You get just straight up increased elemental damage. You get resists. You have increased chance to free shock and ignite, and 30% increased elemental damage with attack skills. Doesn't really matter much, but it adds up. This ring is rad. Super, super duper quality of life for this build. But again, it's not required. It just makes everything a lot nicer. We have a 2-socket light poacher. 1 socket's fine. I like 2 sockets because if you add 2 life jewels, you basically can get like high life rolls. You can get like a 75 to 90 life helmet with Spirit Burst, all resist. It's pretty nice. I don't have the enchant that I want. I don't know which enchant would be ideal here, but it's not this one. The jewels are garbage, but you get the idea. And then we have Stormfire, which is an incredible ring. This is probably required, not necessarily quality of life. Your lightning damage can ignite, which is super helpful for triggering those ailments. You get 4% increased burning damage for each enemy you have shocked recently. You're shocking everyone all the time. This is incredible. You get flat lightning damage to hits against enemies, and then you get your resists, which is, again, super helpful. And it's an opal ring, so you get the implicit elemental damage. Very, very helpful. I'm using Insanity Gloves. I don't know if Insanity Gloves are required, but as you can see, without my attack speed jewels, I'm actually pretty slow. I was a lot faster on the Scion. I had scaled a little bit more movement speed. I don't know if I'm going to do that on this character yet. It is quite slow at the moment, so I probably will, because that that really bugs me. I just got Stygian Vice, and then some movement speed, resist, life, boots. Nothing special here. The alternative to these is to run Aberrath's Hooves. And I was running these before, when I was leveling this character, before I ran Stormfire or Yoke of Suffering. I still have Immolate in my 6th link, which I need to change. But the Aberrath's Fury was originally used to trigger all of the ailments and then all of the heralds. I didn't like the way this feels. Low movement speed, no life. The increased chance to ignite, and the when you kill and ignite an enemy, inflict equivalent ignite on each nearby enemy is those are cool. But as an elementalist, we already proliferate all of our ailments, so not super necessary. You can go this route if you want. I didn't feel like it helped. It was cool for leveling though. I could be wrong, by all means. For gems, it's pretty standard auto bomber stuff. Well, not super standard. We want to do the breadth of all damage with as much of the heralds as we can. We want to trigger the ailments all at once. So for Herald of Thunder, which I have in my main chest, you could switch this to Herald of Ice too. I don't know which one's better yet. I'm trying to play with that. I have Herald of Thunder, Hypothermia, Immolate. Again, I'm going to change this. Added lightning damage, added cold damage, and Innervate for the increased shock. For Herald of Ice, I've got it in my shoes. I've added lightning damage, Innervate, Ice Bite, and then Herald of Ice. And Ice Bite, you want the, just in general for the frenzy charges. It just helps you move a little bit faster. Innervate so that this can shock as well. And then added lightning damage just to get it in there. I just have a cast and damage taken setup, Immortal Call, CWDT, and then Herald of Ash for that 3rd Herald. Get the more burning damage, more of your physical damage is extra fire. It's dope. In Rippling Thoughts, since you don't have to link it, since it's a granted skill, I stuck Physical to Lightning, Control Destruction, and added Fire. I couldn't get a 3rd blue. I preferred to do something else, but I just stuck added Fire. It does whatever you want. I think it's just important to have Physical to Lightning, since it's basically a Lightning Glacial Cascade. You want to convert that to elemental damage so you can scale it. In the Light Poacher, I have faster projectiles, Physical to Lightning. This could be greater multiple if you want. Again, the only thing that's important here really is Physical to Lightning, so you get the most out of Spirit Burst. And then Shield Charge and the Insanity Gloves, Fortify, faster attacks, Shield Charge, and Blind. Fortify is really good, obviously. You know, you're diving into packs, hoping to detonate them before they have a chance to whack you. But if that doesn't work, I have a Blind support in there. I could probably do a high-quality Culling Strike to increase the attack speed of Shield Charge. But I really like the Blind. Blind is an extremely powerful survivability support gem. I don't know the stats for it, but it greatly reduces the likelihood that something's going to hit you, and the duration from the quality is really nice to have on there, and it's cheap. Let's take a look at the skill tree. It's pretty standard Elementalist, non-crit, non-power. When I started by coming over here, leveling, I grabbed Sovereignty really quickly because I wanted to be able to run 3 Heralds as soon as I got the Ascendancy, Mastermind of Discord, which is kind of what the whole build really revolves around. Right now, we are pretty starved for stats. 112 Dexterity, and I got Dex on gems. Well, mostly gems, because you don't really get it from your gear, since your amulets and rings are unique. So, as ugly and awful as grabbing an agility node or a stat node is on the tree, I haven't found an alternative yet, unless I totally revamped. We grab Life, you grab Celestial Judgment and Celestial Punishment over here. These help with some penetration, increased LE damage, and you do more damage against frozen, shocked, or ignited enemies, which is nice. So grab some life, some elemental damage, AoE. I grabbed these. I was having some mana regen problems, and adding the extra mana actually allows for us to reserve 3 highly linked heralds, some jewels, grab some AoE, come up here and grab Breath of Lightning. I grabbed that pretty early too. I wanted the extra chance to shock. Some life, which I'm probably going to fill out. Grab Static Blows, which is nice because it increases the effect of shock and gives you more chance to shock. Also scale some lightning damage. Still Forge is good because you get increased fire and cold. Critical strike chance doesn't matter super that much, but that's always nice. That helps scale quite a bit. I grabbed Crackling Speed like last level, so this one isn't super important, but I was just trying to get, the deeps towards the end of the game. Grabbed Life, came down, grabbed Cold Hearted Calculation, came across, picked up Blood Siphon. Maybe I should have done these earlier before Life. Yeah, I'm playing softcore, would not recommend this for hardcore. I needed the Strength and the Dex. I'm probably going to come down here all the way to Dex and Intelligence as well. Pick up that attack speed for shield charge, help that out. And I'm probably going to grab Nullification. Maybe come over here to Blood Drinker, pick up the Jewel here. That might be it. I don't know if I probably just said more points than I could possibly ever have on this build. But that's probably where I'm heading. There's not too many options left. And then the Ascendancy. I took Mastermind of Discord first. I pathed here up in Cruel, obviously, which made Heralds really dope, especially to level with. I just leveled with some pens, Poet's Pens, running. I think I ran Frostbolt and Vortex. Shaper of Desolation, whatever. Beacon of Ruin. This is pretty cool because it allows your ailments to proliferate. So this is definitely the node we take for Uber. Also because Paragon of Calamity is and we don't give a shit about golems. So as far as Pantheon goes, standard Brine King. I'm using Shikari right now. I was trying to do some Toxic Sewers. It just helps, but it's totally up to you. It's whatever the hell you want to run. I think that's it. Oh, Vessel Flasks. These are important too. Actually, let's go Jewels first. Jewels, I just got some life Jewels. I'm trying to scale it with whatever I can. These are actually just what I had. I haven't even shopped for Jewels for this build yet. Attack speed, maximum life, resists, dex, strength, general stuff. Abyssal Jewels with life, added flat to spells, that whole jazz. I'd say if I was looking now, I'd probably look for increased elemental damage scaling, or flat increased damage, or elemental damage to spells, or obviously max life or flat life on Abyssal Jewels. I haven't really thought that one through. I would say any sort of percentage increase to different elemental damages would probably be strong. Again, it's kind of whatever. What else? Flasks. So I'm using a Vessel of Inktar. That's the only interesting flask on here, really. I don't know if this is optimal. I do have an Xeri's Promise in the background, just because I always think those are strong with elemental-based damage builds. And I'd probably swap this out with a Sulfur Flask if I wanted to use it. I haven't really felt the need to yet. But Vessel of Inktar with flat lightning damage. This could be better because it could be the one with spells. This doesn't help me that much. I just had it on my Wander, and I brought it over. But if you're going to use it, definitely use the one that adds lightning damage to spells or penetrates. That's a lot better than for attacks for this build. And then Leash to Life is really important. That just helps. You dive into a pack with this on, and your life just goes right back up. It could help with bosses, but you really only can blast this once when you fight a boss, so not super helpful. I just have a standard flask for bleed. I have a adrenaline flask, adrenaline quicksilver. I might change this to a silver flask. I've got enough raw movement speed. I think silver flask with onslaught would probably help shield charge a little bit better. Stibnite for some survivability. I don't even know if that's the best option. I don't think I have that much. Yeah, I only have 1,500 evasion. So, was this? Yeah, it gets up to 30. It's okay. And then the Sulfur Flask right now. So not great. Still a work in progress. Oh yeah, I get my Floaty boy. You get the Harbinger whenever you use the Rippling Thoughts, and he just gives you Arcane Surge, which is pretty cool. Doesn't super help us, but it's still pretty cool. And then the most important part about this entire build is you definitely want the MTX for your heralds. You want the Innocence Herald effect. You want the Gloom Herald effect, personally. I like that one the best for Herald of Ash. And you want the Sin Herald effect for Herald of Ice. Pretty much build required. If you don't have it, you need to throw a lot of money at GGG for their Sin and Innocence boxes because they look fucking sweet, and it's the entire reason why I made this build. Yeah, please let me know if you guys like this build, if there's anything I could do to improve it. I'm like the world's okayest PoE player, so I'm totally open to questions, answers, suggestions, whatever. Thanks for watching.